What do you make of all the ridiculousness about you and Brad reuniting on all these carpets all season long?
It's hysterical. What else are they going to talk about?
Hi, Brad. You know how cute I always thought you were. I think you're so sexy. Will you come to me?
Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston's backstage reunion at the 2020 SAG Awards sparked an unexpected social media storm. Fans worldwide couldn't contain their excitement. Their chemistry was still evident that evening as they both took home awards. The pair's connection still captivates audiences today. They reunited again virtually in September 2020 for the Fast Times at Ridgemont High table, read alongside Julia Roberts and Morgan Freeman. Body language experts spotted signs of lingering affection between them during their memorable SAG Awards moment. How accurate could that be? We'll find out in this video. Come along. The SAG Awards moment that broke the internet. Let's talk about the heart-fluttering and internet-breaking moment between Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston on January 19, 2020. If you were anywhere near social media that day, or the week after, honestly, you could not escape the buzz. It was like the whole world suddenly hit pause because our favorite early 2000s power couple had what can only be described as the most beautifully awkward, sweet, and ridiculously emotional backstage run-in at the SAG Awards. I mean, tell me why that single second of eye contact and a gentle hand grab felt like a whole romance novel wrapped into a GIF? Isn't it wild how two people can just stand next to each other and have millions of people collectively gasping, crying, and writing fan fiction in their heads? Because that's exactly what happened. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston have been divorced for years. They've both dated other people, and yet, every time they're in the same room, fans start whispering, "Wait, do they still have chemistry?" The way they look at each other, those little smirks, the playful touches, it's all there. Or are we just seeing what we want to see? Stick around, because this video unpacks every little glance, every reunion moment, and the surprising way it's messing with everyone's heads, even Hollywood's. You're not going to want to miss what happens when two of the most famous exes in the world might not be done after all. So here's the scene. Both Brad and Jen had just won their awards, Brad for Best Supporting Actor, and Jen for her role in the morning show. Huge wins, right? And backstage, Emma McIntyre from Getty Images captured the photo that would go on to be dubbed the hand grab seen around the world. Now pause for a second and think about how rare that is. How often does a celebrity hand grab generate $19.5 million in media value? Like what? According to Apex Marketing Group, that one unscripted, tiny, tender moment generated almost $20 million in equivalent brand value, and neither of them paid a dime for it. I mean, if that's not Hollywood magic, what is? But it wasn't just about a hand grab. No, this wasn't one of those stiff, polite, "Hey, good to see you" celebrity encounters. This was Brad freaking Pitt holding Jennifer Aniston's wrist like he wasn't quite ready to let her go. Like he was this close to saying something he'd maybe been holding back for years. And Jen? She had her hand tucked under his lapel. Do you know how intimate that is? That's not just a "hi, buddy" move. That's a "we have history" gesture. It was delicate. It was nostalgic. It was a moment. And fans were absolutely losing it. Can you blame them? Now here's where it gets even cuter. While Jen was on stage accepting her award and giving this super graceful and humble speech, Brad was backstage, eyes glued to the monitor, smiling like a total proud ex-husband who still kinda maybe wants to be her current husband. That's what he looked like. He wasn't on his phone. He wasn't chatting. He wasn't distracted. He was just standing there, completely tuned into her moment. News even aired the footage, and it exploded online, millions of views in a matter of hours. Because people still care. We still care. Maybe because, deep down, we all want to believe in the idea that true love can find its way back. And can we just talk about the fact that Jen caught his speech too? When Brad got up there and joked about playing a character who doesn't get along with his wife, cameras immediately panned to her reaction. She smiled, maybe a little knowing smile, and you could almost hear every fan whispering, "Oh my God." It wasn't dramatic or fake. It felt natural, like they were two people who had been through a lot and still had this undeniable warmth between them. Later on, when reporters told Jen that Brad had actually stopped to watch her speech, her reaction was adorable. She was genuinely surprised, like she hadn't expected it at all. "No," she said before letting out that soft, disbelieving giggle. She told Extra TV that it was sweet of him, and then added something that honestly hit me in the feels. "We've all grown up together, and it just feels like a really fun night to celebrate and cheer each other on and keep working." Doesn't that sound like someone who's been through the ringer, found her peace, and still has love in her heart? And listen, if you think it was just fans reading into this, think again. Even body language experts came in with receipts. Blanca Cobb told Cosmopolitan that people don't usually touch others they're not comfortable with. And the way their eyes crinkled when they saw each other, that's a dead giveaway for real joy. Not the polite Hollywood kind, the real kind. The "I knew you when we were both young and figuring life out" kind. Patty Wood, who literally wrote a book on body language, said the way Brad held his award low, beneath his waist, showed that what's important to he is her. And the way he gently grasped her wrist? She read it as him saying, "Stay here with me." Tell me that doesn't sound like something out of a movie. Actually, scratch that. It's better than a movie, because this was real life. But of course, not everyone was convinced that a romantic reunion was on the cards. Suzanne Macefield thought Jen might have moved on, saying there were mixed messages. She noticed warmth and love, sure, but also saw hesitation in Jen's body language. And you know what? That makes sense too. After everything, the divorce, the media circus, all the ups and downs, they're both different people now. Maybe they're not meant to be together again. Maybe they're just two grown-ups who shared something beautiful and still have a soft spot for each other. And honestly, there's something kind of mature and heartwarming about that. But still, what if? What if that brief moment of connection was something more than nostalgia? What if, deep down, there's still a tiny ember of what used to be? We don't know. And maybe we don't need to know. Because whether they're just friendly exes or soulmates orbiting each other from a distance, one thing is for sure. Brad and Jen still have that magic. The kind of spark that doesn't die, even after 15 years and countless tabloid headlines. It's rare, it's precious, and honestly, in a world where so many celeb relationships feel fake or fleeting, theirs still feels real. So yeah, January 19, 2020 wasn't just another awards night. It was a night when the world paused, sighed, and believed, just for a second, that maybe, just maybe, some stories don't really have an ending, just new chapters waiting to be written. And isn't that kind of beautiful? Why fans can't let go of Brad and Jen. You know what's kind of interesting? After all these years, decades actually, people are still talking about Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston like their love story just ended yesterday. Isn't it kind of funny how the world can't seem to move on from two people who officially split up over 20 years ago? But honestly, can you really blame anyone? That little backstage reunion at the 2020 SAG Awards? It sent the internet into orbit. You'd think they were about to announce a secret wedding or something with the way people were zooming in on every glance, every smile, every touch. It was like the moment people had secretly been hoping for finally happened. Just a few seconds of magic that cracked open all that bottled-up nostalgia and what-ifs. And the craziest part? A source close to them actually said that Brad and Jen find the obsession hysterical. Like, they laugh about how obsessed everyone still is. Can you imagine just living your life, showing up to an awards show, and suddenly becoming the internet's favorite love story again? But here's the thing. This obsession? It makes sense. It really does. Brad and Jen were never just any celebrity couple. They were the golden couple. Back in 1998, they met on a blind date. How cute is that? And boom, the whole world just collectively sighed in delight. They were gorgeous, successful, likable, and they had that kind of chemistry that felt real, even through a magazine cover. By the time they had that dreamy Malibu wedding in 2000, which reportedly cost about $1 million and had security tighter than a Marvel movie set, people were already all in. Brad and Jen weren't just dating, they were a movement. Paparazzi were camped out for a glimpse, tabloids couldn't stop writing about them, and fans were cheering from the sidelines like it was their own relationship. And here's where it gets even more interesting. They didn't try to fake perfection. In one of Brad's old interviews with Esquire, he actually said that he and Jen were so comfortable they could just fart and eat ice cream in bed. Like, come on. That's not the polished, PR-trained answer you usually get from A-listers. That's the kind of thing you say when you're just genuinely in love and couldn't care less about keeping up appearances. It made them feel human and relatable in a way most celebrity couples just aren't. And that's what people latched on to. They weren't just picture perfect. They were real. Even after the divorce, the connection didn't totally fade. Brad once told V magazine that they still shared a deep friendship, and Jen confirmed that years later during her interview on Howard Stern, saying they're just friends now and they talk. Like, how often do you hear about exes, especially celebrity exes, still being that cool with each other? That kind of maturity? That's rare. And honestly, it just makes everyone even more obsessed. Because now, it's not just about what they had, it's about what they still share. Plus, let's not forget the era they came from. Brad and Jen were like the poster kids of early 2000s celebrity culture. You remember that time, right? When Friends was the biggest thing on TV, Brad was becoming the king of the box office, and celebrities weren't constantly being followed on Instagram stories or live streaming every breath. There was a little mystery back then, a little magic. Their relationship kind of froze that moment in time. A time when Hollywood still felt a bit more glamorous and a lot less noisy. And people miss that. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. And when you tie that nostalgia to a love story, oh, it's over. People are hooked. Relationship experts have tried to break this whole thing down too. One, named Marigold, said something that really hits. People love the idea of love. And when you've got two beautiful, talented, mega-famous people who once loved each other and clearly still have love for each other, yeah, it's like catnip for hopeless romantics. Their story lives in this perfect little bubble, untouched by real life. Never mind the cheating rumors or messy divorces. It's that one snapshot of them smiling at each other on a red carpet that people hold on to. And don't even get me started on the whole Team Aniston versus Team Jolie era. That was a thing. People were buying T-shirts, literally choosing sides, like it was a championship game. And guess what? Team Aniston's shirts outsold Team Jolie's 25-1. That's how deep the emotional investment went. It wasn't just about Brad and Jen, it became personal for so many people. Jen represented something relatable and real. Like, she was the girl next door who just wanted to be happy, and suddenly she was blindsided by one of the most public breakups of the decade. People saw themselves in her, rooted for her, cried with her. That kind of fan loyalty? It doesn't go away easily. And maybe the biggest reason people haven't let go? It's because the story never really felt finished. Their 2005 divorce felt like a book that ended right before the last chapter. Fans are practically losing their minds over every tiny interaction between Brad and Jen. But are we just being hopeless romantics? Or is there actually something still there? Is this real-life chemistry? Or just two super good actors giving the people what they want? You might think you know their story, but trust me, when you see the moments we've lined up, you'll start to wonder if they're writing a whole new chapter. So stay right here, because what happens toward the end, that part really raises eyebrows. Decoding their body language through the years. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston's body language tells such a story. One that feels almost too deep for words. You know how sometimes you look at a couple and just feel what's going on between them without anyone saying a thing? That's them. Every glance, every little touch, every shift in posture, it all reveals a whole emotional journey. Now let's rewind for a second. Remember their wedding? That Malibu ceremony in July 2000 was something straight out of a romantic movie, like the big budget kind. 50,000 flowers, 4 live bands, and a fireworks display that lasted 13 whole minutes. And the whole thing? A cool $1 million. Wild, right? But what really made that wedding iconic was Robert Evans's black and white photo. That single shot of Brad looking at Jen like she was the only person in the universe? But here's where things get extra interesting. Body language expert Patty Wood looked back on those wedding photos and said something that really sticks. She pointed out how Brad and Jen always stood on the same plane in those early years. Neither of them leaned forward or stepped ahead of the other, which might sound small but actually says a lot. It showed they were equals, balanced in affection, power, everything. And when you look at photos from that time, you see it too. Interlocked fingers, hands on each other's backs, soft smiles. That stuff wasn't for show. It was two people who were genuinely into each other. But of course, nothing stays perfect forever, right? Over time, things started to subtly shift. Photos from the later stages of their marriage told a different story, if you looked close enough. Suddenly, Brad's leg would be angled away from Jen in pictures. Doesn't sound like a big deal at first, but body language-wise, it's one of those signs that something's off. It suggested he was distancing himself, even if only subconsciously. And Jen, oh sweet Jen, she started being the one making all the effort to look connected, to seem united. You could tell she was still trying, still reaching for that sense of us. But as Patty Wood noted, there weren't any huge red flags in their body language, no full-on disaster signs. It was more like a slow fade, where something just wasn't clicking anymore, even if they still looked picture-perfect on the surface. Then came the split in 2005, and we all know what happened next. Brad and Angelina became Hollywood's new obsession, and Jen later married Justin Theroux. But even through all that, Brad would later say that he and Jen had a deep friendship that didn't just vanish because of the divorce. And honestly, you could see that. Like when Brad showed up at Jen's 50th birthday party in 2019. That wasn't just a random polite gesture. People close to them made it clear he wouldn't have been invited if they didn't have a solid civil relationship. So it kind of confirmed what fans always hoped. there was still a soft spot there. Maybe not romantic anymore, but something that hadn't fully gone away. And can we talk about Dr. Lillian Glass for a second? Because she pointed out something that kind of hits you in the chest. She said that in all the years Brad was with Angelina, all the red carpets and glossy magazine spreads, he never really looked happy. Like truly, deep down happy. She described him as looking tense, sloppy, even disheveled at times. And Jen? Even though she eventually remarried, you didn't really see her light up the way she used to either. That old sparkle just wasn't there. And that makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, was there a part of them that never fully healed from the breakup? Now let's fast forward to 2020. The SAG Awards. Oh my God, that was a moment. I mean, it practically broke the internet. Both of them won awards that night. Brad for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Jen for The Morning Show. But it wasn't the awards that got people buzzing. It was what happened backstage. Their reunion, the smiles, the hand grab, the laughter. It was everything. Karen Donaldson, another body language expert, straight up called it an undeniable bond. And really, it was. You didn't have to be an expert to feel it. That split-second moment where Brad reached for Jen's wrist, people zoomed in and analyzed it like it was the Zapruder film. Some said it was possessive. Others said it looked like he didn't want her to leave. Judy James mentioned how he held his award low, near his waist, which apparently shows that she was more important to him in that moment than the trophy. But not everyone saw the same thing. Suzanne Macefield noticed something a little different. She pointed out that Jen's hands, while they were on Brad, were flat, not gripping him, almost like she was being polite, affectionate even, but with a little distance. She even said Jen might have moved on emotionally, even if Brad still felt something. And you know what? That feels kind of true. Like maybe Jen is at peace now, grounded, in control. And Brad? Maybe he's still catching up. The Fast Times table. Read that had everyone talking. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston had a virtual reunion that nobody saw coming, but somehow everybody needed. You remember how chaotic 2020 was, right? Like, the world was practically upside down. And then, out of nowhere, Brad and Jen show up on our screens together like some nostalgic fever dream, and people lost it. It wasn't just any regular old Zoom call, though. This was a full-on star-studded table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, that 1982 coming-of-age classic. And of course, it wasn't just some casual script reading. No. It was a fundraiser hosted by Dane Cook, all to raise money for COVID-19 relief. But let's be honest, while the cause was noble and the cast was stacked, everybody had their eyes glued to one thing only: Brad and Jen. Now, you have to imagine how surreal it felt seeing them face to face, even if it was just through computer screens. That super infamous fantasy moment where Brad's character, Brad Hamilton, played by Judge Reinhold in the original, daydreams about Linda Barrett, played by Phoebe Cates back then. But now, Linda was being played by none other than Jennifer Aniston. Yep, Jen freaking Aniston. And it got spicy, like awkwardly spicy, like watching it through your fingers, kind of spicy. So, there they were, Jen, looking calm and collected, delivering her sultry lines like a total pro. "Hi, Brad. You know how cute I always thought you were? I think you're so sexy. Will you come to me?" And on the other side, Brad's face started turning red like a tomato at a farmer's market. Poor guy looked like he wanted the earth to open up and swallow him whole. But he kept going. And everyone watching just died. Like, how were we supposed to recover from that? Of course, it wasn't just us regular folks who were giggling and cringing and swooning at the same time. The other celebs in the Zoom call were clearly loving it too. Julia Roberts had that wide, knowing grin the whole time, and Sean Penn looked like he was trying hard not to laugh out loud. Jimmy Kimmel couldn't hide his smirk. And Matthew McConaughey? He was practically leaning into the screen, enjoying every second of the madness. Later on, he was asked if he could feel the sexual tension, and he jokingly said something like, "Oh yeah, so palpable, totally felt it," and then immediately laughed and admitted he didn't actually feel anything through the screen. But hey, at least he had fun. Now, here's the tea. Dane Cook, the one who organized the whole event, said there were no rules and absolutely no drama when it came to Brad and Jen. Like, none. And isn't that kind of sweet? He even said what we all saw, just two insanely talented people being cool and professional with each other. No weirdness, no behind-the-scenes mess, just grown-up vibes and good energy. And honestly, isn't that kind of refreshing? Because, let's face it, in Hollywood, that's rare. But wait, it gets better. The second this thing hit the internet, social media exploded, like full-on meltdown mode. Fans were freaking out. People just couldn't stop talking about it. For real, YouTube views went through the roof, like over 26,000 in just the first 8 hours. That's how hungry the world was for a little slice of feel-good nostalgia. And maybe a bit of romance fantasy, too. The best part? They ended up having fun. One insider said they actually enjoyed themselves once they got into it. And yeah, at one point, they used to get annoyed that people constantly wanted them to get back together. Like, it was a thing that bugged them. But now, apparently, they just laugh it off. And honestly, that's the energy we love. Two people who used to love each other, went their separate ways, and are now totally chill and maybe even better friends than they were before. Isn't that kind of beautiful? So yeah, that little table read moment might have seemed like just another celebrity event. But for fans of Brad and Jen, it was a full-on emotional roller coaster. It gave us a glimpse of how far they've come, not just as actors, but as people. Two icons, once lovers, now showing the world that maturity, grace, and even a little playful awkwardness can coexist. And let's be real, who wasn't smiling like a goof watching that? Because for a brief, magical moment in a tough year, we all got to believe that maybe, just maybe, happy endings, of some kind, are still possible. The chemistry between Brad and Jen is so strong that it's hard to ignore. And honestly, they might be onto something. But the question is, what does it mean now? Are they just being friendly? Or is all this harmless flirting pointing to something more? We're breaking it all down, from backstage reunions to subtle red carpet body language. And if you think this is all just fan fiction, wait till you see the clips at the end. Let's just say, sparks might be flying again, and not everyone's thrilled about it. What relationship experts say about their connection? Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston have got the internet in a chokehold every time they so much as glance at each other. But here's the part that relationship experts find especially fascinating. Their friendship post-divorce isn't just polite nodding across red carpets. No, it's warm, it's relaxed, and it's so intriguing that even professionals are pulling up their chairs like, okay, let's take a closer look at this. So what's really going on there? Is it romantic tension? Is it just two grown-ups being mature after a very public breakup? Or is it something in between? That's the million-dollar question. But according to experts, the answer lies in the little things, like really little things. Take their conversations, for example. Apparently, they don't talk all the time. It's not like they're texting good morning and good night or anything. But when they do speak, it's all smiles and warmth, and it's very genuine. And oh my gosh, don't even get started on their body language. Because you know people are watching like hawks. One expert, Suzanne Macefield, broke it down like this. Brad definitely still has a soft spot for Jen. Like, he's not out here being cold or distant. But Jen? She seems like she's completely moved on. There was even this one red carpet moment where Jen touched Brad's arm. You know, that sweet spot between the shoulder and elbow. And everyone collectively lost their minds. But Suzanne was like, hold up. Her hand was flat. She wasn't gripping him or holding on or anything like that. That kind of touch? That's the friendly kind. Like the way you'd touch a coworker you actually like. Not someone you're trying to kiss under the mistletoe. So those little details, they matter more than most of us realize. And honestly, time has done a lot of the heavy lifting in their dynamic. Because if you rewind a bit, back to when they split, it wasn't even this massive train wreck. Sure, the media made it dramatic, as always, but Jen herself has said that it never got that bad. She even told Vogue back in 2008 that the whole thing feels like a distant blur now. Isn't that wild? To go from being the couple everyone rooted for, to divorced, to completely chill exes who can talk and laugh and maybe even hug in public without any drama. That's growth, babe. Real, mature, I've done therapy and worked on myself kind of growth. And it's not like they just accidentally ended up on good terms. That stuff takes intention. Experts say that people who navigate post-divorce friendships successfully tend to establish new boundaries. Like, they don't pretend they never dated, but they also don't dwell on what was. It's like rewriting the rules of the relationship. And guess what? Jen herself backed this up when she chatted with Howard Stern. She said it plain as day. Brad and I are buddies, we're friends, and we speak. That's it. No cryptic answers. No trying to keep fans guessing. Just two adults figuring out how to keep the peace and maybe even enjoy each other's company without making it weird. But here's where things get really interesting. Because not everything we think we see is actually what's happening. Psychologists have this term, parasocial relationships, and it basically means that fans feel emotionally connected to celebrities even though they've never met them. Wild, right? So when Brad and Jen have these sweet little moments on camera, fans go nuts. Not because they have unfinished business, but because we do. We're still holding on to that fairy tale, hoping maybe they'll get back together and ride off into the sunset. Claire Howarth from Vanity Fair nailed it when she said that fans want Jen to be glowing, Brad to be single and maybe a little bit regretful, and for the two of them to have this lingering what-if vibe floating in the air. And honestly, hasn't everyone done that at some point? Projected their own wishes onto someone else's love story. So really, the big picture here is this. Brad and Jen have carved out a new kind of friendship that actually works for them, even if the rest of the world keeps trying to turn it into something more. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.